ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानार्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so we finished Bhava yesterday. Today we're going to read Prema. So mm, so we understood that when Asakti achieves full maturity, it is called Bhava. Asakti is the state of attachment to the Lord. When it achieves full maturity, it is called Bhava. And this is a stage where two aspects of the creeper of bhakti, which is Sudurlabha, the rarity of for all, and Moksha Lagatakrit. In this regard for liberation happens at this stage. Um, by the profuse release of its fragrances, flower of Bhava is able to invite Madhusudan and make him appear there. Mm. And when this Bhava appears, even a Chandala becomes worthy of respect. Now at that time, the devotee's eyes full of longing turn towards Krishna to lick the blackness of his limbs, the rosy hue of his lips. So devotee is more and more attracted towards Krishna, full of longing. Um, and he's everywhere. He's just looking for Krishna, wanting to hear his ankle bells, wanting to hear his flute, wanting to hear his sweet voice. So he is looking for Krishna everywhere. And mentally he experiences Krishna's presence. Mm, So he's experiencing all this in his mind. He gains association with the Lord internally. So sometimes when he gains association with the Lord internally, his heart feels exhilarated. He becomes drunk with the abundance of sweetness. Becomes drunk. And then at the disappearance, he grieves and becomes despondent. And his intelligence, now he knows that it is wandering in remembering the Lord. And it's wandering here and there. Everywhere he's trying to remember the Lord. So he unfailingly concentrates on Krishna in state of wakefulness, sleep, and deep sleep. So he's like full of Krishna Maya, basically. And as he makes progress, he almost gives up his material body, becomes his body almost becomes spiritual. And then at that point of time, he experiences extreme possessiveness. So that attachment just keeps on increasing, and then it comes to the stage of possessiveness. And such a devotee, he doesn't show his feelings outside. Mm. So these are some of the qualities of bhava. And of course, then there is discussion about raga bhakti and vaidhi bhakti. Raga is more stronger and natural feeling, where there is distaste for seeing the Lord as the Almighty Master. There's distaste. It's very intense. Raga bhakti is very intense. Vaidhi bhakti is not so strong and natural, and it is not so intense. We discussed that. And then there are five types of devotees: Shanta bhaktas, Dasa bhaktas, Sakhas, etc. And they have the bhava of Shanti, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Priyata or Madhurya, and then that results in, um, and this is called Sthai Bhava. Sthai Bhava is fixed mood, fixed mood, right? Like yesterday we were discussing, sometimes this bhava keeps changing, right? Like sometimes we are attracted by one pastime, sometimes something, but slowly, steadily it becomes fixed, and that will be our fixed bhava. And then it combines with other elements like anubhava, vibhichari bhava, vibhava, uh, and then it manifests as rasa. It produces the rasa. Mm. And that rasa is Krishna. So in that rasa, Krishna is experienced. So this rasa appears in this stage of bhava, and it is fully experienced at the stage of prema. Okay, so this much we discussed yesterday. Now we'll read further. The eighth shower of nectar, prema. From the creeper of bhakti, which was sprouted two leaves during sadhana bhakti, now suddenly appear many smooth petals in the form of anubhavas attached to the flower of bhava. These anubhavas are filled with the devotional process such as hearing and chanting and shine brilliantly at every moment. First forming the flower called bhava, finally they bring forth the fruit called prema. So sadhana bhakti results in first it produces a flower called bhava and finally brings forth brings forth the fruit called prema, and the anubhavas, which are what is the devotional process which helps this growing of this creeper of bhakti, is hearing and chanting, right? So as we hear and chant, first bhava appears and then the fruit prema appears. But the creeper of bhakti is most astonishing, for though its leaves, bud, flower, and fruit mature into the succeeding form, they do not give up their original forms. Meaning that when bhava has appeared, then prema appears. It's not that when prema appears, bhava disappears. No, like bhava is also there, prema is also there. So together, all they shine in newer and newer ways. The devotee's innumerable thoughts were previously bound tightly by the ropes of possessiveness to family, relatives, house, and properties. Initially, right? Uh, Thoughts are bound tightly, isn't it? Bound tightly by these ropes, possessiveness to family, relatives, etc., house, properties. However, when prema appears, one's mental functions become easily freed from all those attachments. In bhava only it happens, right? But now it is complete. By prema's inherent power, they become completely transformed, material though they be, into personal, spiritual, blissful elements by submersion in the well of great rasa. So basically, they become completely transformed. So this possessiveness to family, relatives, house, properties, etc., just gets transformed because the devotee is drowned, submerged in the well of rasa. Prema now binds those mental functions to the sweetness of the Lord's name, form, and qualities by the rope of possessiveness, which have been similarly spiritually transformed. So basically, now the mind which was bound tightly by the ropes of possessiveness to family, relatives, house, properties, etc. Now it becomes bound tightly by the to the sweetness of the Lord, sweetness of the Lord's name, form, qualities. So we can see that, and it doesn't happen overnight. So this is the transition that we have to experience, transformation, right? The From being tightly bound to the ropes of possessiveness to family, relatives, etc., to bound by the process of hearing and chanting, and eventually bound by Krishna, Krishna's name, form, and qualities. That is the transformation, spiritual transformation one has to experience as we practice bhakti. So if somebody, no, none of us need to ask saying that how advanced am I? We can just see where we are, right? Possessiveness, bound by possessive ropes of possessiveness to family, relatives, house, properties. Stage one. Stage two, bound tightly by ropes of possessiveness to Shravanam Kirtanam, the angas of bhakti. Stage two. Stage three, tightly bound by the ropes of possessiveness to Krishna, Krishna's name, form, qualities, etc. By those ropes of spiritual possessiveness, prema binds the spiritualized functions of the mind. So the mind becomes bound up. The splendorous sun of prema in this way rises and manifesting its brilliance immediately puts to shame all material ideals, purusharthas, which become dim like constellations in the sky. And so when prema appears, all this chaturvida phala purushartha, dharmartha, kama, moksha, all of this become dull, dimmed. So it's useless. The rasa which comes from the fruit of prema on being tasted has as its essential quality the most intense concentrated bliss, and its outstanding nourishing property is it is Sri Krishna Akarshini. In the stage of bhava, it has the power to attract, but it is not as intense, as concentrated. It is intense, but in prema it becomes most intense. And what is its property? It attracts Krishna, Sri Krishna Akarshini. So when prema, the fruit of prema, appears, Krishna is completely attracted by the devotee. Needless to say, when the devotee begins to taste that rasa, he does not take heed of any obstacles. Like a great warrior in battle, or like a man greedy for wealth, losing all sense of discretion out of absorption in his job, the devotee loses all sense of self consciousness. Sometimes there's an impatience for obtaining the Lord, like a hunger which cannot be satisfied even by eating the tastiest foods all day and night. Burning like the sun by that anxiety, he soothed as if by the coolness of 1,000 moons, only on tasting the incomparable form, qualities, and sweetness of the Lord, which make a momentary appearance at that time. See, such a beautiful experience. So we can understand, right? So the first thing is at this stage, uh, Krishna is uh, uh, the bhakti and the bhakta. They attract Krishna. Mm. So they attract Krishna. What happens now at this stage? What is the experience? So what is this? The intensity is so much is tightly bound by, uh, you know, Krishna's form, etc. What happens? He begins to taste that rasa. This is that bhakti rasa. Mm, what we call Madhurya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, etc. So the devotee begins to taste that rasa more. He already started. That rasa appeared in bhava. Now in prema, he starts to taste that rasa. And when he begins to taste that rasa, he does not take heed of any obstacles. He just loses consciousness of his of himself. The devotee loses all sense of self consciousness. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, like such a devotee just eats, sleeps, passes stool, takes bath, etc., just as a matter of like practice. It just loses sense of self consciousness that is there. He needs to eat, and it says that there's an impatience for obtaining the Lord. That is a state where there is impatience. He cannot wait anymore. Uh, he's like hunger which cannot be satisfied. Even by eating tastiest foods all day and night. So it's like that. That person wants to eat more and more and more and more and more. He's been eating all day, all night, but still not satisfied. So like that, the devotee is tasting the rasa, but he's not satisfied. He's impatient. He wants to obtain the Lord. And when does his impatience, his burning, get soothed? Only when uh, momentarily there's a appearance of the incomparable form, qualities, and sweetness of the Lord. They make the incomparable form, qualities, and sweetness of the Lord make a momentary appearance at that time when this devotee is impatient for obtaining the Lord, and he's just lost all external consciousness, and without taking any heed of any obstacles, is just like raging like a warrior to achieve Krishna. At that point of time, incomparable form, qualities, and sweetness of the Lord make a momentary appearance. Astonishing prema arising in the devotee increases slightly, and the devotee longs for a meeting with the Lord at every moment. By the intensity of his longing for the Lord, which burns like a conflagration and tears his body like a sharp arrow, he remains unsatisfied with the previous momentary vision of the Lord's form, qualities, and sweetness. So, momentarily, the Lord's form, qualities, and sweetness appear. Right? When they appear, what happens? It increases the prema. It increases the prema. Now his longing further increases. He remains unsatisfied with the previous momentary vision of the Lord's form, qualities, and pastimes. It's a momentary appearance. He considers friends to be as useless as a dry, overgrown well, and his house becomes like a thorn filled forest. Uh, House becomes like a thorn filled forest. Food becomes totally painful. Praise from other devotees is like the biting of a snake. Daily duties become deathly. All the necessary rituals with their details become a heavy burden. The consolation of his comrades is like poison. Though he remains constantly awake, wakefulness is an ocean of repentance, and his sleep makes his life flow away. His body seems the target of chastisement for the Lord. His life heirs, which are his wealth, become lifeless as roasted grains. What he previously took as his life's goal is abandoned as a great calamity. Even thinking of the Lord tears his body asunder. So we cannot just imagine, right? He's just like this verses there, no? Uh, like one moment becomes like, many lifetimes. It's like this. Devotee cannot just exist because he's had a momentary experience of the Lord, and now it is his longing is increasing and increasing, and everything becomes painful. Everything becomes painful. Daily duties, praise from other devotees, food, friends, others are consoling, saying it's okay, it's okay. And he's constantly awake, but wakefulness is the ocean of repentance, and his sleep makes his life flow away. Right? It's just like not even to able to live. His life airs become like roasted grains, meaning burnt. So even thinking of the Lord tears his body asunder. So it's a painful state of separation from the Lord. Right? This is the pain because of that increased longing for the Lord, because he got a momentary appearance. Then Prema, assuming the form of a magnet, attracts Krishna, who is like a piece of iron, and makes him appear to the devotee for a moment. Again, at that moment, all the senses of the devotee become the receptacles of all the auspicious qualities of Krishna. His supreme beauty, fragrance, melody, youthfulness, tastiness, audarya, and karunya. The ever fresh sweetness of those qualities caused by the prema of his devotee, who is the taster of those qualities, manifests and increases at every moment into the greatest hankering. Such a great ocean of bliss appears at this time that poetic words are not capable of discerning its limit. These poetic words only we are not able to appreciate, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying poetic words are not capable of discerning its limits. So it turns into the greatest hankering. So again, he got a vision. He of the all the senses of the devotee became receptacles of all the auspicious qualities of Krishna, like his supreme beauty, fragrance, melody, youthfulness, tastiness, audarya, and karunya. So momentary appearance, then longing increases. Again, another momentary appearance, it becomes a great hankering. Like a traveler on a desert path burned by the sun's rays during the hot season, who takes shelter in a cool place supplied with 100 vessels filled with icy water from a divine pool under the shade of a vast banyan tree densely tangled with branches, or like an elephant caught in a forest fire, is finally bathed by unlimited water from a bank of rain clouds. The devotee, craving a taste, experiences bliss in the intense sweetness of one ray of that nectar. A brief description of that bliss has been presented through analogies, right? So basically, there is just what he has experienced is bliss in the intense sweetness of one ray of that nectar. So this is prema. See, we should understand this, that the devotee actually has got a momentary appearance. Lord's form, quality, sweetness have appeared momentarily multiple times. And what does the devotee experience? His eyes see the supreme beauty of the Lord. His nose smells the beautiful fragrance of the Lord. Ears hear the melody of his voice. All that description is there subsequently, right now in the second part. And then his tongue tastes the sweetness of the Lord. Uh, so all this is being experienced, but very momentarily. But it is actually being experienced in Bhava. It was more in the mind. Now, actually, the senses beyond the mind, other senses are also experiencing the Lord. And it's just that craving just keeps on, longing just keeps on increasing, increasing, increasing. And he's just experienced the bliss in the intense sweetness of one ray. One ray of that nectar has intense sweetness, and that bliss is experienced by the devotee. Yeah, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Just a little clarification.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, then in what, when Dhruv Maharaj started, like he was not hankering for the Lord, then does he
Uh,
come into Prema when he sees the Lord? And even Prahlad Maharaj is such an exalted devotee, but we never see him in the Prema Bhava.
mm.
Narad Muni knew about the Lord, but then he sees it increases. What about Dhruv Maharaj and these three great
Prahlad
devotees?
Maharaj is easy. Prahlad Maharaj actually experiences the touch of the Lord. If you see the qualities of Prahlad, first, before the description of the pastime, right? First, there is description of the qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. Right? In that qualities of Prahlad Maharaj, actually, there's one verse which says that Prahlad, let me open that.
In what
It's a
mood
very
are they?
beautiful.
In what mood are they? In the prema,
Yeah.
like, see,
They're all
because,
prema only. They're all prema. So
but
here,
but how,
yeah,
Prabhu, like, see, like Dhruv is just he's come with the material, this thing,
yeah.
he's chanting, and he's not even in association of devotees. He doesn't even uh, like he's see, Bharat Maharaj falls down because there's no devotees. Oh yeah, he's
Uh,
also not in association with devotees, but still he gets the grace of the Lord. So does that
yeah, one
bhava?
second. I'll explain. Where is this beautiful? Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj, the saint, listen. Hmm. Not here before this. Ah, here. You're able to see my screen? Ah, yeah. So this is chapter 4. See, look at this. Because of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he sometimes cried, sometimes laughed, sometimes expressed jubilation, sometimes sang loudly. Prahlad Maharaj was always absorbed in thought of Krishna, thus being always embraced by the Lord. He did not know how his bodily necessities, such as sitting, walking, eating, lying down, drinking, and talking, were being automatically performed. This is what we just discussed, right? Be- so sometimes feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his closed eyes because of his love for the Lord. So this is all love. This is expression of love.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right. So Prahlad Maharaj is very clear. See,
Yes,
Dhruva
Prabhuji.
Maharaj, see, and we should understand these devotees. One is Prahlad Maharaj was at the age of 5, right?
Yes,
Uh,
Prabhuji.
right. He got that powerful association of Narad Muni, and there was no contamination that actually pulled him away, right? So he was pure, and he remained pure in the process, right? Always chanting the Lord holy name. So the association, we should understand the power and need of association, right? Now, many great devotees, they don't necessarily have their quality association, they are giving association, right? Like Narada Muni is giving association. So great devotees give association, right? For us, we take association. Now these are all great devotees being mentioned, like Prahlad, Dhruva, 6 months, right? Power of devotees association. 6 months he achieved perfection, right? Now after that, gives up the association. Then he seems like, if you read after Dhruva Maharaj pastimes, then it looks like he's entangled materially, right? He forgets momentarily, he goes into bodily consciousness, he goes to kill Yaksha, right? Now that is because there is a long gap, of no association, no hearing. Then again, then Swayambhuva Manu comes and says, no, no, or Brahma comes and says, right, you should not do this. Why are you killing? Uh, then Yaksha also, Kuber also says, right? So you are already a great devotee, you already achieved perfection, right? But so there seems to be some. It's not Yeah, yeah, because of possibly lack of association or something. I have not heard what the explanation is for this by our acharyas. But looks like momentarily he, for the 36,000 years that he rules the material world, there seems to be some little, though he was practicing complete bhakti, it doesn't seem like it was completely pure. But because he had already got the mercy, subsequently he just achieves perfection, right? And meaning that mercy comes and possibly plays a role. That aspect is not clear, but the point is, in 6 months, if the Lord had to appear in front of him, it couldn't have been without him achieving the stage of prema, right? Because the Lord will not manifest in front of a person who doesn't have prema, right? Even to Narada Muni, Lord manifests and he says, you will not see me again, right? Because he's appears in the heart only, right? He doesn't appear in front. When he opens his eyes, he's gone, right? Though the Lord manifests and he tells Narada Muni saying that, you are not completely perfect, so you will not be able to see me again in the boy, right? And then he continues the process, achieves perfection. When he achieves perfection, there also it is described, saying that, he got experience of the supreme truth. Hmm. So when these devotees, when they achieve that stage of prema, they actually only then they can see the Lord. They cannot see the Lord without achieving that stage of prema, right? And these things, when we see, like, which is why even demigods cannot see Krishna, right, or Vishnu. They won't have to only offer prayers. That's all. Sometimes the Lord, out of his own mercy, he might manifest himself in front of somebody. That's all, right? But devotees, when they achieve the stage of prema, only they get the vision of the Lord.
Nee, Prabhuji, I understand Prahlad Maharaj and Narad Muni because they had a strong continuous association of Narada Muni, and Narada Muni had it from the sages. But Dhruv Maharaj, he went into the jungle without like clean absolute slate. He just met Narada Muni and he got just one shloka. He
No,
didn't
no,
even know who.
no, 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 no. Oh, Mataji, we should not look at it like that, right? Narada Muni came to
Okay.
give mercy to Dhruva Maharaj, and
Yes.
he tests, right? He got initiated
Yes.
by
Yeah.
by
Yes.
Narada
He
Muni.
got. Yes. He
He got
tested that.
initiated. I mean,
Yes.
he got
Okay.
initiated. He got the mercy of the devotee. He got the process of bhakti.
Yeah.
Narada Muni
Yes.
told him, saying that where do you have to go? What do you need to do? And he
Yes, please.
simply
Okay.
followed. He simply followed his guru's instructions. See, that is the
Ye-
power of a
Yes,
guru,
yes, Prabhuji, got it.
right? I mean, that is just a momentary great mercy on Dhruva
Yeah.
Maharaj, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
That he got the mercy of Narada Muni. And see, this is the power of those such great souls.
Yes, Prabhuji.
6 months, he was able to just see the Lord.
So he had to be in the prema stage to see the Lord.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. And
oh.
without, if Narada Muni had not met him, he wouldn't have achieved it,
No, no. Yes, Prabhuji.
right? And
Yes,
it
Prabhuji.
is described, like, I mean, and he feels so much remorse at that point of time, because
Yes.
he has tears in his eyes, but he's feeling like, what nonsense am I? This is what, here in the previous text, there's description, right? Like saying that devotee feels like disgust about his material, because see, the actually just before uh, one gets the darshan of the Lord, right? At that point of time, actually everything is destroyed, but just momentarily before that, the devotee would knows that actually he had contamination. So Dhruva Maharaj is actually repenting, right? That what, how much contamination I had, what qualification did I have for the Lord to even manifest in front of me? And even after he manifested, Dhruva Maharaj is like, he didn't ask anything. He didn't ask that I don't want that also. So that also he's repenting. He's repenting, saying that I didn't even ask that I don't want that world, whatever I came, looking for. So it's actually very deep. Dhruva Maharaj actually is very deep, very difficult to understand. Actually, his state. But one thing we can clearly understand it easily, at least at my stage of understanding, is that he couldn't have seen the Lord if he had not reached that stage, right?
And all
Uh,
of them, they all of them clear up all the three modes of material nature. No,
oh
because
yeah,
then only
yeah.
then they transit. Only then
That
they
is
transited
that
into
is like
prema.
basic. That is
Basic,
like that happens at
basic.
Nishta, no? Like we said, at the stage of
Yes, Prabhuji.
Nishta, basically that Brahmabhuta stage comes, right? Which means we raise. which is what we discussed. Those
Yes.
anarthas are all like they are from previous sinful life, pious life, imperfect performance bhakti. All those go away by the time asakti, nishta asakti, ruchi asakti, they're all gone, right? Anarthas from um, nama aparads also are almost gone, right? In the stage of bhava, and then prema it becomes completely gone, and when the Lord's appearance happens, then it is cannot reappear, right? So yeah, so everything is gone basically from starting from nishta, ruchi, asakti, all material. So it's Brahmabhuta platform. All material contamination is gone, and then that is why from then on the uh, devotee's focus is not towards material things, right? Devotees now attracted by bhakti in the stage of ruchi, then in asakti is attracted by Krishna, then that attraction deepens, intensifies in the stage of prema, then it comes to the stage of craving, longing, such that he cannot exist even for a moment. And when that intensity reaches that stage is when first the Lord gives a momentary appearance, and then another momentary appearance, and the devotee is like cannot, that mode of separation, because the Lord just appeared for a moment and then he has to wait till the Lord shows his mercy again. Just that craving goes on increasing, increasing, increasing.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Thank you. Thank you,
So
sir.
uh, okay, so I think we'll do this tomorrow. Actually, this part is the description of what is the darshan, what does the devotee experience, right? What does the Lord reveal to the devotee? Um, so it's fine. It's a very beautiful description. We'll conclude tomorrow with this last part. So see, we should just understand, saying that this whatever we see in Bhagavatam and here in those pages, right? Very easily, like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, or so many other devotees, where the Lord is actually giving darshan, giving them, they're able to see the Lord mm, by their austerities, by their bhakti, right? Not austerities really, by their bhakti. It's not a very easy platform to come to, right? And why Bhagavatam is so celebrated? Because in Bhagavatam, we always, every now and then, keep hearing of devotees getting darshan of the Lord. That means we are just in the association of some exalted devotees and their, uh, pastimes. Mm. So obviously, if we are in constant touch with such devotees and hearing about them, what will happen to our anarthas? Will get destroyed, right? So, and that is why Bhagavatam has to be constant, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Throughout it, of course, it's not just Raganuga, even Vaidhi, like Krishnigarbha, Dhruva Maharaj was Krishnigarbha, right? Vaikuntha, not Madhurya. So not Goloka Vrindavan. But still, all of that, even Prema achieved through Vaidhi is not ordinary. It's just that the devotee's preference is for Vaikuntha and awe and reverence. But still, it is Prema. So all the most of the except for yeah, brief mention of Brajavasis, everywhere else it is Vaikuntha Prema, right, which is manifesting, and devotees are experiencing the Lord. You know, so we should understand how exalted this scripture is, Bhagavatam. By just associating with this Srimad Bhagavatam and the devotees therein, we can come to this platform of ourselves experiencing the Supreme Lord. That is why that Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya is so, 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 so critical. Just washes away all the dirt, washes away all the dirt. Like I'm saying, it's like that, our Bhagavatam challenge. Just take up Bhagavatam, sit every day for 2 hours, 3 hours, and see what happens. It's like that verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, which says, "Don't look at that Krishna standing behind, below that uh, Vamshi tree." So it's like that, right? So uh, if you just if you associate too much with Srimad Bhagavatam, we can just, we can be assured that we're going to just cut off from this material bondage. Be careful before you do that. Be ready for it. That's the, don't look at Krishna standing behind the tree, is, bent in three places, and if you look at him, you will lose all attraction to material world, material life, material relations. And it's the same thing with Srimad Bhagavatam. If we intensely associate with Srimad Bhagavatam, there's no way anything can remain. There's no way any nonsense can remain. It's so powerful. So if anybody wants to try, beware those who are still working and have, of course, all the vanaprasthas should absolutely do. The other grastas, you can be careful based on.
I think you are telling me.
We are getting the hint, Prabhuji. Absolutely getting the hint.
I'm also vanaprastha only now.
Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if I'm not attending your class tomorrow, Prabhu.
Even I am a vanaprastha. Anyway, I mean, this is what it is, right? Like the others are
Yeah.
unfortunately stuck at other stages, right? And when
Actually, if
fortunately we can,
we can't read 2 hours, 3 hours. So we can listen actually 2 hours, 3 hours, like 1 hour, 2 hours, like that.
yeah, see, actually, if you read like what I have experienced, Prabhu, is when we are reading in our mind, we can't read for 2 hours, 3 hours. We should read
Yeah.
loudly. We
Okay.
should read loudly. Like if suppose say two of you are sitting, right? You have such nice company. You
Right.
can sit and actually one person reads for some time, another person reads for some
Actually,
more time.
we fight and get up. Yeah, that is the problem.
No, but simply hear, no, no. Don't do anything else apart from just hearing. It will change. That fighting will change.
No.
Actually,
On some questions, actually, we start arguing. Actually,
then you can just park it and then continue. No, but
right.
actually, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Actually, again, my all these kind of tricks. Vidwan Prabhu says, read Bhagavatam loudly.
Yeah.
Um,
That's right.
so if we read Bhagavatam loudly, I mean, see, this is the rasa we experience. Like what we are doing now is reading it loudly. When we read loudly, automatically the same thing. Like I said, I've read this book 3-4
Very good.
times, right?
Yeah.
But I am not myself experienced the happiness that I'm experiencing now by reading this book in the association of all devotees. So as much as we can read together in the association of other devotees, it's nice. Even if it doesn't mean major discussion, or if you are not clear on certain things, that can be part for subsequent discussion, etc. But the point is, if we can sit and read for 2-3 hours, it just changes our consciousness completely,
Yes, bro.
right?
Agree.
Super powerful it is.
Agree.
Yeah.
Prabhu, can I add something here?
Yeah, please. Yes, Prabhu.
Rightly told, Prabhu. I think we cherish the most when we actually. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello? Am I audible, Prabhu?
Yeah, you're audible,
Yeah.
but
So I was
yeah.
saying, I think we cherish the most when we actually read together than individually, because I used to actually teach my friends during my college days. And the concepts, how much it used to get cleared when I actually
Yeah.
study with them, or when I'm actually telling them this is what it is. That was putting much more stronger foundation in my mind that this is how it is.
Yeah.
So definitely I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll put it into practice as much as possible. That's why this half an hour is like which is why Prabhupada made that 1 hour every day morning program. But yeah, you're at least trying to do 30 minutes, 40 minutes, which is good. But we should tell others also, make people also somehow in their own groups. They can make their own groups and create their own study groups and read loudly. It's not for some major discussions. It's not that somebody has to give a class. Everybody will have their own realizations when they. Some might be correct, some might be wrong, but over a period of time, it will all get purified. It will all get cleaned up, right? And we will be fixed. But that just this reading has to be done. See, just imagine. No, I mean, I'm saying we can directly. Just imagine we are seeing Radha Krishna in front of us. Like literally, directly. experiencing. I mean, it's unimaginable, right? Who can get that? Who can get there, right? Only the most greedy ones can get there. So unless we become greedy, Krishna is not easy. I mean, even devatas, they go there near Shvetadvipa, and then they have to just offer prayers. And Vishnu many times doesn't even manifest. It's just even to Brahma, just through Vani, through the heart, he reveals many a times. It's so difficult, so difficult. That's why all the demigods come when Krishna manifests, and Bhauma Vrindavan, Bhauma Leela, all of them are like, reading the first. Actually, I'm just reading the second chapter of the 10th canto, and all demigods are there offering prayers because nobody can. It's hard. It's so difficult to get a glimpse of Krishna, right? So yeah, very fortunate that we are at least we are connected with this parampara, which can give us that. But we should not waste it. Not waste this opportunity. Okay, so tomorrow we will read that, Krishna willing, we'll read that actual experience in detail about what the devotee. Right now it just says momentary appearance of, whatever eyes, ears, nose, tongue, everything tasted Krishna's presence. But now what actually happens, that is going to get revealed in the next part. We'll read that tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samveta Gaura
Hare Krishna
Bhakta ki
Prabhuji,
jai.
one
Yeah.
Hare
one-
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam,
uh,
Prabhuji.
yeah,
Yeah.
that Nara Prabhu, yesterday I was listening on video
Uh-huh.
from Maharaj,
Mhm.
Bhaktivedanta.
Okay. Prabhu, you muted yourself. Hare Krishna. Anukul Prabhu, you muted yourself.
Hello.